Prioritization is one of the top challenges that every business owner has to master. Now, last week we spoke with Valerie about prioritization and her personal prioritization on how to identify which overall tasks are in which order in terms of family, kids, partner, yourself, and so on. Now, let's map this to the business world because it is very important that you identify what should you be working on. Now, we did record a previous video on how do you prioritize the most important task. We're going to link this here so that you can refer back to this. There was a short video about how do you find that most important task. Now, let me add to that video another tool that might be very helpful for you to identify what you should be working on at all. And that is the so-called Eisenhower Matrix. Dwigth D. Eisenhower was a US president, and he was known for being super organized and for knowing exactly what was important to work on. And as a president, of course, you cannot work on everything clearly, so he had to prioritize pretty tough. And he's known for the so-called Eisenhower Matrix, which is still used today very actively. For example, when you have to go through a recruiting process for consultants, for example, that's one of the tasks that they will ask you to do, because it is very important how exactly you will do that. Now, let me give you that matrix and help you understand what clusters exist and how do you exactly classify your tasks in there. Now, the Eisenhower Matrix has two different lines. One is how important the task is. So how important? Is it important or is it not important? And the other aspect that you look at is how urgent is a task. Is it super urgent or can it also wait a little bit? Now, based on these two axes, you have four different combinations as an outcome. One is the task is super urgent and it is super important. These are the tasks that you should be doing, you personally. Then you have tasks that are important but not that urgent. These are also tasks that you are doing. So any important task, you do it yourself. Now, if the task is not urgent, you don't do it immediately, you schedule it, okay? So you do it later, but you schedule it in your calendar to make sure it doesn't slip through. Because if it is not urgent now and it becomes urgent, these are the tasks that actually take you a lot of time in your daily business because they don't look urgent in the first place, but they become urgent over time. And then it's those firefighting tasks where everybody's like, why did we not do that earlier? We had so much time doing that task. Why is it only coming up now? Usually because you didn't schedule it, okay? Now, the third category is tasks that are not important, but urgent. These are tasks that need to be done, but not by you. The task is not urgent, and the task is urgent but not important, so you delegate it to somebody else. And then the final bucket is it's not important and it's not urgent, so guess what you do with these things? You throw it away because you will never have time to look at this anyway. If it is important, they will come back to you and they will make sure it's getting noticed. But if it is not important and not urgent, it's not a task for you. Just throw it away. So therefore, those are the four clusters how Dwight Eisenhower did everything, right? Now you may think, okay, now I know what to do right now and what to delegate and what to do later, but in which order do I do now, schedule, and later? There's an order to it. The very first thing you do is you delegate away what needs to be delegated because that somebody else can work on while you do your other things. So make sure that you are not the bottleneck and delegate the stuff that has to be delegated first. Then you look at your tasks that need to be scheduled, take out your calendar and schedule them. And then you start with the tasks that need to be done now. And these are the tasks that you focus on working. As soon as the delegation and the scheduling is out of the way, you work on your task and you do nothing else but these tasks in that bucket. Now, do consider that when you delegate something, you have to also plan for reviews because you may have to have a checkpoint at a certain point. Schedule that checkpoint in as well, okay? Because you know that you will not have everything completely delegated off. You will have review loops. You will have to talk to people, maybe make corrections, look at the status, right? To make sure, because even though you delegated, it was originally your task, so you still have to keep an eye on it, okay? But the better the people know you that work with you, the more they can do themselves, and then the checkpoint is rather a formality. I hope this was helpful for you. Next week we are back with another video on a really amazing interview where we are going to dive into marketing and some other aspects, so stay tuned for that. Going forward, we are going to do this alternate change between interviews and also highlighting some important points and giving you tools and techniques to support that. So don't be worried if you see those mixed. I really do this on purpose to give you even more value instead of just looking at the interview, which are amazing. Check out all the interviews we have for you. Please also look at the other topics that we are going to create for you, which highlight specific aspects of what we discussed with our guests so that you really get the full benefit and you are able to implement these things. Now, with that said, my name is Tenjo. I'm the CEO of Work on Your Business. I'm your host for Success by the Numbers, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back next week for an amazing interview. Stay tuned, check it out, subscribe to our channel, like the video, share the video. Please make sure that everybody who needs to see that sees that. Give value, share some love. Thank you very much, and we'll see us back next week. Bye-bye.